Well, speaking of people doing bad things, we have lots of sound to get to featuring Donald Trump. And while he does bad things, he does unintentionally make us laugh. So we're going to do a lighthearted segment next with our guest, Wosny Lambre. I think he's with us. There he is.
Yeah,
hey,
there
Woz.
he is, baby.
I'm sure you
There
guys
he
are
is.
familiar with Woz, but for those of you who maybe didn't catch his first interview or appearance here on Weekends, he's a culture and NBA writer at The Athletic, also host of Woke Bros along with Nando Vila, and I'm super excited to have you. Hey, Woz.
Hey, what's going on, guys? That little monologue soliloquy Nando just did was professionalism, brother.
That's right. Very polished. Way more polished than our Woke Bros. Woke Bros is more of like we're just shooting the shit, talking. I actually prepare for this. I write it. I find
I
elements,
love it.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Get your Peter Jennings on, man. I love
That's
it.
right. Yeah. Wait.
So go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, Nando.
No, go ahead, Anna.
No, I was just gonna say, there's a lot going on. Woz, every time you laugh, it makes me feel better, regardless of whatever mood
Wow.
I'm in. Your laugh is so infectious; it's incredible. So we figured, there's been a lot of heavy stuff in the news, obviously, and why don't we lighten things up today and just laugh at Trump? Some of the crazy shenanigans coming from his White House over the last week, insane things that he's been saying on camera, and so. The thing that I loved about the Michael Brooks show was how Michael was never ashamed about how funny he found Trump, right?
Yeah.
And there was this one time when Trump said something that sounded like a haiku.
Yeah.
And I still laugh at that segment because the way he communicates. Anyway, all right, so why don't we just get started? Let's go to one of the videos. The topic of coronavirus. Obviously, Trump has been talking about coronavirus a lot lately because he contracted the virus, can't keep the country safe from it, can't keep his own White House safe from it, can't even keep himself safe from the virus. And so he goes to the hospital, ends up leaving the hospital early and wants to prove to the American people that he has fully recovered, he's doing great, puts out this strange ranting video. But within that video, there are all these little gems, including his thoughts on vulnerable seniors. So let's listen to that.
We're taking care of our seniors. You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable, and so am I.
Oh, man. I like that he's so used to just saying the opposite of whatever truth is, but he realized he had to catch himself wait, hold on. These homies might actually die from this, so let me actually let me correct myself here right on the spot. But he's so used to just saying whatever it is that might suit him in any case. It doesn't matter how far or near the truth it may be. But it's just funny to catch himself in real time. He says, "I'm vulnerable." Relatable Trump. We love relatable Trump.
It's kind of like a poem. It's like, but in this case, you're vulnerable. And so am I. It's so good. I mean, I just love that.
What I love
it made me
is-
think this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this week.
No,
this
go
week,
ahead.
This week, it just the fact that they had to put these proof of life videos that people were legitimately were wondering whether Trump was actually dead and this was a body double or the irreality of it all, and that they put out these proof of life videos kind of holding up a newspaper with today's date being I'm alive. It reminded me that just right after that the final debate between Joe Biden and Bernie, where Joe Biden did surprisingly well. Everyone thought he was gonna collapse on his face and just blather nonsense. Joe Biden did surprisingly well, but then he disappeared for 2 weeks. Do you guys remember this? And 10 days into him, people were like, where the hell is Joe Biden? No one's seen a picture of him on a campaign, in anything for over a week. And Simone Sanders, his communications director, organized some sort of DJ Instagram live stream for Joe Biden. And then she was like, hey, look, Joe Biden's checking into the live stream to talk to the people. And it was just from the Joe Biden account, just a thumbs up emoji, and that was it. Like it was like no, I want to see a newspaper proof of life. So yeah,
the problem is the strategy is always to just go with the opposite of whatever they're saying on CNN and MSNBC. So if they're saying the virus is deadly, is dangerous, it's it's attacking seniors the worst, blah 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 blah, you have to go against it. But in this situation, he can't do that because he actually contracted it. So it's like, how do I go against the stuff they've been saying for months now when I actually have it? And that's where you see the confusion. And he's like, you're not vulnerable, but maybe in this case you are. Even I am. And it's just a resignation, man. And he can see, because all he cares about is numbers, polling, ratings, all of those things. He loves those sort of, what are people doing, saying, watching? And he sees his numbers are just cratering. And all of this stuff just seems to be desperation. I don't know if you guys caught this, but Dave Weigel for the Washington Post, he put out something where a PAC called the Raising Up for Trump. This PAC just launched on Thursday, and they're trying to get pledges from businesses with over 1 million employees to promise to raise wages only if Trump gets reelected. If that is not the dumbest, if that is not the dumbest, most desperate thing I've ever seen. The whole point of being a Republican and supporting this party is that you never have to raise wages. All you have to do is the most cynical things that, maximize profits. Raising wages is the opposite of why you become a Republican in the first place. So why would these guys agree to this? It's like this idea that like things are going to get much worse for us if Biden comes around, but much worse in the context of American business is raising wages. that's worse to them. Like it's just the desperation is, you're starting to see it all over the place, man, from the money class, the donor class to, his campaign. It's just desperate. And I think that clip is just showing you that he's just desperate at this point.
Yeah, look, the Republican case to be made is that raising wages is actually awful for the wage earner, right? Like that's what they try to message. Like actually turns out if you get paid more for the backbreaking labor you're engaged in, your life is going to be awful. And you don't want that, do you? You want to make sure that you get trickled on by your boss, if you're lucky. No, but like there's a huge contradiction with Trump that like it boggles my mind because I'm shocked that more people haven't caught on to it. So he put out that ad or that video to signify strength, right? Like, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm an alpha, like that's this whole shtick. But the contradiction is he's got an awful spray tan on his face. He speaks in like this weird whispery voice and his hands are pasty as hell. Like he's got the whitest, pastiest hands, like up against, like next to his face as he's talking. And you could just see like the difference. And you're like, how is it that this man who either has a spray tan or horrible bronzer and it constantly whines and cries, like that's 95% of what he does. He's on Twitter all day long, and most of his tweets are complaining about something, about how unfair life is, how tough things are for him, and how the media is so unfair. Like, he is the biggest bitch I have ever seen in my life. Like, I haven't seen anyone cry more than Donald Trump cries. Yet, he has somehow sold this, like, this persona of an alpha male, and it doesn't exist.
You know what the persona is based on? It's based on saying fucked up things about minorities. Like to certain people, that makes you tough. You're saying the quiet part loud. You're talking how we normally talk in closed doors in public, and so to them, that's a show of some kind of strength. But the dude is obviously hyper insecure, sensitive, and feeble. And when you see him doing his, I gotta go on the expedition, the excursion, so that I can wave at my fans, my adoring fans. He just needs that reassurance, like they love me, they really want me. That, like, he's not some strong, actual, self-assured person. He was willing to say messed up things about minorities and a certain white people in this country. That means you're a hardcore just person, individualist. It's ridiculous.